Hello everyone, and thank you for watching this week. As you know, on Road to Rust, I do two things. I show you rusty cars in car graveyards, and then I buy cars and save them and do them up. The doing them up and the saving them bit has been going very well, but the selling them bit has fallen a bit by the wayside. And I now find myself with far too many cars and nowhere near enough space to store them all. Something has got to give. And I've decided over the next few weeks, I'm going to start selling quite a bit of my hoard of cars off. The first one to face the axe is Grandad, the W202. Now, I've been driving this car for 4 months. More than the other cars I've rescued, I've really grown to love this. And I'm going to show you now what it's been like to own it for the last 4 months and what to expect if you want to buy it. So let's go and have a look. A couple of things I love about this car, especially at this time of year, is it does not take any amount of time at all for it to start to warm up. If you've ever been in a car with me, which I assume most of the people watching haven't, I have to have, at this time of year, everything on full blast. In the summer, it's freezing cold. In the winter, it's boiling hot. And I do not believe in these temperatures in between, which is great because I can have this on for like a minute and it's warm. The mileage on this beautiful Mercedes is only, what are we saying here? 102,797, which brings me on nicely to my next point. Very typical on W202s. The alarm will sometimes go off if you don't use it for a few days. It thinks it's being nicked. It will just do this, actually. There is no alarm. It just flashes the hazards, and then eventually it will stop. It doesn't last very long. But it's a very odd old car quirk. Something you'd really expect more on a French car than a German one. There we are. It's stopped now, so it's happy. But nonetheless, it's a quirk of an old car. The ABS warning light is on for some reason. I believe that is a wheel speed sensor. It was a bit intermittent and now it's on again. But other than that, absolutely nothing particularly of note to say about this car in a negative way. My favourite thing, I think, definitely has been this sunroof. I open it all the time just because it's so quiet. Now, I know other ones of similar ages. None of them are this quiet. How lovely is that? And all the rails in there are free of any rot, and it is just in a really lovely condition. Old sunroofs rot, and when they do, they absolutely bugger everything up, but this is lovely. All of the switches, everything is just, it works and it feels like it's well made, and I love that about these. And what Colin was telling me is that they all drive well. So all the W202s, no matter that they're old, and I'd overlooked them for years. I just thought, what a boring car. They're quite dull. I actually had one. I bought it to sell it like 5 years ago. It had 30,000 miles on it. I didn't really give it much thought at the time. I just thought it was a low mileage, crap old Merc. But now I've grown up a bit more and I appreciate the excellence of a red car with cream interior and wood trims all around it. I feel much differently, and this car has really scratched an itch that I was having for quite a while. And looking at the prices of them, they seem quite varied. I want £2,000 for this, which reflects partly some of the work that I've had done. So actually living with the W202, I'm going to be honest, it's broken down on me 5 times. Mainly because when I first got it, I didn't realise that the fuel gauge wasn't working properly. I had it sent to Al at 60 diesels 3 times. Each time was because I'd ran out of fuel. Al did a little bit of work on the tank because it'd been set up for a few years and there was some gunk in there. So he cleaned that out and that helped. And then following that, it was just me running the tank down. So it still does say that it's got about quarter of a tank when it's got basically no fuel. So I just remember to fill it up past that mark. And since then, I haven't broken down at all. It's been brilliant. The gearbox is absolutely fantastic in this. I love this thing. And they are completely indestructible on these. I will drive that until it goes to 500,000 miles and it will be completely perfect. Heading on to the rest of it, we have this lovely cream cloth interior. Now, being an Elegance and a top spec one, you might think this would have had leather, but no, they went for the cheaper cloth. But I love the cheaper cloth because it's just fantastic. It's nicer than leather. Leather is hot when you sit on it in the summer and cold when you're in the winter, so don't bother with that. The original radio, which works, it will fire different volumes. Maybe it could do with being replaced, but I love that the aerial pops out the back like that, look, and then when you turn it off, it goes back in. So it's got a few quirks, but you know, a shit box it ain't. Let's have a look under the bonnet. I'm not sure what to tell you here. It is an engine, it works. I replaced the alternator the other day, it was a bit weak. I did that all by myself like a big boy. Unusual for me, because I don't usually do my own work, but that was done by me and it's been lovely since. All of the levels of everything is fine. Can't tell you exactly when it was last serviced, but I don't think it needs one just yet. But it's quite clean in there, there's no sort of rusty turrets, and again, what do you expect from a lovely old Mercedes built in the era of proper build quality? And I will just demonstrate that again quickly now. So if you have been in a new Mercedes of, I don't know, 2012 perhaps onwards, basically anything that sort of came after this, which is actually 2001. But anyway, if you've been in one of those Mercs and you press anything down, you will just hear horrible clicking. It's cheap. Their build quality is absolute pants. Now, I had a 2019 C-Class convertible a couple of years ago, and I sent it into Mercedes. It was only, I had it for like a week. And in the roof, I could hear rustling, and it was the sort of piece of fabric in between the layers, the internal and the external layer of the roof, rattling around. Mercedes never fixed it. I had a sweeping wood trim that would constantly crack. They replaced that 3 times. And in the end, what broke the camel's back was they gave it back to me and they hadn't plugged in the clock behind the dash. At that point, I went, fuck this. I'm done with this car. And since then, I have had shit boxes. I went from a 2019 C-Class, and then I went out and bought my Xantia. And that's what I've been in since. So I've definitely found a lot more rewarding driving to be had from older cars than newer cars. But as I was saying, if you press these things, look, nothing. So silence, no. Oh, that's because that's still open. But that's build quality. That's what you don't get anymore. And everything is just, oh, it feels so solid and nice. And these are reasons that I don't want to get rid of this car. But unfortunately, I can't justify petrol cars, apart from maybe the DS. But I do too many miles. I can't run a 1.8 petrol. I can't run any petrol, really, unless it's a 1 litre. Then that leaves me a modern car, and I'm not going to do that. So I'm an old diesel boy for the rest of my life now. And that is the way it is. And look, this car even comes with this. It's like a knife. No, it's it's sort of the emergency card. I don't know how it works. I don't know what the hell that does. I think it functions basically as a key. Franklin, that was the guy who owned this. So let's go and have a look at some of the paperwork that he left behind. I'm a lover of originality and anything old and special to do with a car. And this came with a whole bag full of paperwork. I've never had a car this age that's had this much stuff. And I'm not just talking old MOT certificates, by the way. I'm talking actual parts of the car's history. And there is so much of it, it would honestly bore you all to death if I showed you all of it. But there were a couple of really exceptional documents. So the guy who bought this car collected it in person from Germany, and it comes with all of the paperwork from the factory of Mercedes giving it the authorization to leave Germany, which I have never seen on a car before, and I think is a fantastic piece of its history. Things I like, obviously, a service book, which is full up of services, all from main dealers. This guy clearly didn't cheap out on owning this car. And although I don't know exactly what happened to it for all of its life, because the servicing seems to stop in the book by when? 2011. There are receipts then that continue afterwards from Mercedes. So I don't know where he was going afterwards, but he was still keeping it up with genuine parts. And I can't really fault that. It doesn't matter that it hasn't got a full dealer history, how many cars of this age do, but he's obviously kept it up together with the parts it was meant to have, which is a very important thing. Here it is. So we've got all of these documents, all in German. And I can't really tell you what they say because my German is very, very poor. But it's everything to get the car out of the country. This here, this is a little passport to allow it insurance and to get through the borders. Because obviously when it left the factory, it wasn't registered. It was basically on temporary German export plates. And then it came into Portsmouth, where it was registered and where it's been since. And that's why I would absolutely love it if this car could stay in Portsmouth. And I'll show you a couple of things in a minute about its originality. There it is. I hereby authorise Roy Franklin to take delivery of the vehicle below. And it's just got it as a C180 and its VIN on our behalf, and to export this to the United Kingdom, as well as carry out any legal transactions required in this connection. This authorisation shall only apply to the specified vehicle above. Fantastic. When are you ever going to find cars like that with this much paperwork? So, granted, it's not the cheapest W202, but there are ones with higher mileage, more expensive than this, and they don't have this level of paperwork with them. So I think the £2,000 that I'm asking for it is well worth it. Plus, I need to recoup some of the money that I've spent taking it to Al about 3 times for not really much reason. But anyway, I just can't go through it all. If you want to come and view it, by all means, come down and you can have a look. Right, let's go and have a look around the bodywork. You'll have to excuse me. It needed a wash. I washed it, and then the birds got it this morning. So I'm not washing it again. But let's go and have a look, and you'll see just what this car looks like on the outside. W202s suffer with rusty arches, as do many things, but in particular these. And these don't seem too bad at all. There's a little bit of a touch-in that's been done there, not by me, funnily enough, but all the panels on it are straight, and none of them are rotten, which is quite important on one of these. As I mentioned, the burrs got it. Things that I love, like I said, these dealer number plates. I have not seen another car driving around with those on, and I love that they're factory honeycomb. You can't have those anymore. The government said no, we can't enjoy things like honeycomb. As I said, rusty arches, not there. And the red wine metallic paintwork is lovely. This does require a new one of these lights. I constantly forget to do that, and I will fix that one, I think. But the other side is fine. As you can see, though, it's just quite a straight, nice car. And I almost don't want to sell it now. No, nonetheless, I must. So there we are. I think I have shown you all there is at the moment to show you about this car. Well, that's enough waffling from me for this week. So I have showed you around most of everything that I can about the W202. Kind of don't really want to sell it. And like I said, I'm still going to be using it for my daily for the next week or so. Anyway, the price is £2,000. I think that is very good value. Please do write in the comments below, or drop me a message on Instagram at Road to Rust. I am located in Portsmouth. If you want to buy it, you must come there or send a truck. I am not driving this to Scotland. No, it's not happening. But anyway, if you'd like it, please do let me know, and I will see you again next week. Bye.